Hi, Evan Jackson here for Young Bo and Regal. I'm with actress Shanti Lowry. You may know her from the BET's The Game. She's a producer, she's a director, she's a professional dancer. And we'll get right into it today. So how do you balance all of those fields when it comes to dancing, directing, acting, and all of that?
You know, that's a great question. I don't, actually. I was a dancer early in my career, and like a professional dancer, and I still dance for myself. I take class, and I keep up, you know, once a dancer, always a dancer. That's who I am, but professionally, I just don't have time to do it anymore. And then, you know, the rest of it, you balance job by job. When you book an acting job, you focus on that, and in your downtime, maybe you write a little, or you know, work with your producing partners, or you know, the directing is the hardest part. If I decide to direct something, that consumes my whole world. So I don't know that I'm a great person to ask, because I don't know that I balance it well, but you know, I try.
So what do you gravitate towards more right now? Acting, dancing, directing? What draws you towards one or the other right now?
I would have to say, it's a weird thing to say, but I would have to say producing, only because it's like you're really creating the entire story. You have your hands in the entire story. You're bringing together the actors and the director. You're sitting down with the writer and creating the world. You sit down with the set designer, and I guess it's sort of the whole scope of creating something that I find really attractive. That's not to say that I don't yearn to be in it as well. And then, you know, as someone's writing it, I'm like, oh, maybe I could write a story like that, and oh, maybe I want to direct it. But I think in the end, producing is a very satisfying thing.
So what is your first big break in Hollywood? So in terms of that, even before you got to Hollywood, what was that moment you felt like, I'm going to be an actress?
You know, the big break is different than the moment I knew I was going to be an actress. I had a bit of a rough childhood. Didn't fit in, didn't have a lot of friends, went through some difficult things, and acting was my escape. Whether it was just going into my room and playing with my dolls, or I did a lot of just talking to myself in a mirror. I don't know if that's normal or not, that's what I did. And I just knew that I loved the escape of not just being someone else, but like really trying to understand what it was to be somebody else, where their thoughts come from, why they behave the way that they do. I loved it. My mom said, you know, since I was 2 years old, I always just wanted to put on characters and put on plays and entertain people. And then I became a dancer, which is an extension of that. You know, have a song and you have to interpret it and become another instrument in the song, elevate it to a more interesting story. So I've always been a storyteller, and I've always loved that. But I remember reading in the newspaper that there was a play, and you know, that's what I was going to do. I lived in a small city, but this was an opportunity to like get out on that stage. I didn't tell my mom because I didn't know what she would say. So at my mom's friend's house, they had like you know, a wall of books, and I saw this monologue book, and I stole it. I gave it back, but I stole it, and I picked a monologue that was completely inappropriate. It was a 40-year-old woman who was asking her husband for a divorce because it turns out he's gay. It's from For Colored Girls Who Considered Suicide When the Rainbow's Enough. And completely inappropriate for a 10-year-old auditioning for a play. I had my little bus pass, and I went to the audition on my own. I took, like, you know, a Polaroid picture of myself as my headshot, right out of my mom's photo book, so not a great idea. And I went in, and I think I ended up getting it, and I think just because they found me charming, and I mean, how do you not give a child who's, I don't know. I got the job. I had to tell my mom because it was, you know, a 3-month run at a play, and to my surprise, she was nothing but tickled by the whole thing. She thought it was, you know, wonderful that I had that kind of gumption to go and do that, and she completely turned her life upside down to make sure that I could do that play. And I know that's not like my big break in Hollywood, but that's when I knew that I had enough support at home and enough drive to do it. My big break in Hollywood was I was at a dance competition, and a Hollywood agent happened to be there and offered me a contract, and that was all I needed. I just needed to know that I had a way in, and that was it. I said, okay, I'm moving. Again, I was very lucky. My mom was 100% supportive. So I moved out here as a little 17-year-old girl, terrified, but also not. Just